What's up, everybody? I'm gonna tag some of you guys in. What's poppin', everybody? This is your girl, Danielle B. Welcome to today's Artist Facebook Live interview. Let me tag some of the groups. And hey, guys. And we're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's Facebook Live artist interview. I'm waiting for our artists to get in. Hey!
What's up?
What's poppin', everybody? Good night. How are you, Ron?
How are you, my dear? I am rocking. I'm blessed. All is well.
I'm doing well. So let me do my whole spiel. Let me go through it. What's poppin', everybody? And welcome to the Creative Girl of Color podcast / artist interviews. They go down every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. I'm so glad you guys are here, but you know what to do. Go ahead and share it, love it, like it, tag it. Tell all of your mama, your sister, your brothers about it, you guys, because we're about to get into tonight's artist interview. It's going to be super popping, you guys, okay? We have a wonderful artist, right, that just stepped into the building, Ron Bryant. He has 22 years in the business, editorial, cartoonist, illustrator. We're going to dig into his life in just a moment. All of his information is up in the description box, as well as my information. If you guys want to donate to the podcast, donate to Ron, you can head over to my my PayPal at paypal.me SDB. Okay, so let's get into tonight's interview. Hey, everybody. Oh, also, if you want to put in your questions, type everything down below in all caps, and we will get to your questions at the end of tonight's live interview, because we have so much to dig in with, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
That
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah, we have so much to dig in with tonight. So we're not going to be able to answer every single question, but we're going to try to get to your questions at the end of the live, you guys. My name is Danielle. I'm the artist behind Creative Girl of Color. I am a podcaster, YouTuber, metalsmith, mom, and all of that stuff. Okay, so let's get into tonight's interview. I want to introduce to you guys Ron Bryant. Yay! Okay. Go ahead and take it over, Ron.
Well, my name is Ron Bryant. Most folks on social media call me Cut. I've been an artist for over 22 years. I'm a husband. I'm a father. Um, I'm a business owner. I've been drawing professionally, like I said, for about over 20 something years. And it's not the only thing I do, but it is my passion. That's what I truly love to do. I love to illustrate. I love to draw cartoons. And now I'm also animating.
Wow. See, you guys, like, we have so much to dig into. He has an expansive career. Like, that is so, like, that's part of the reason why I wanted to, like, I really had to interview. When I seen you, I met him in one of the other artist groups. And I seen his work. I thought it was phenomenal. I thought it was which we're gonna get into. I thought it was jarring. I thought it was a conversation piece. I thought it was controversial. Like, it made me think. It was just so many things in my mind when I actually got a chance to really like see your work. So
Thank you.
what I want to do is kind of take us way back, where we talk about how did you get into art? What made you want to get into illustrations, editorial, cartoonist? What made you go to that career path versus some other genre in art?
Well, it started in North Carolina. I got out the military. I was honorably discharged. and I started working in the hospital. At the same time, I started sketching. But keep in mind, I've always been an artist. I've always drawn. I was drawing in high school, but I didn't pursue it after high school. It wasn't something I really wanted to do at the time. But I started drawing more in the military, and then afterwards, while working in the hospital, my older brother, started noticing my sketches because he's an artist too.
Wow.
He's an illustrator. He's to me, he is the best illustrator in the world. His name
Right.
is Shelton Bryant. And he saw some of my work. He said, Ryan, you ought to do a comic strip of this. I drew a dog with glasses. He almost looked like a Snoopy dog with a kind of a wavy, curly kind of afro.
Right.
He said, you should do a comic strip. And at the time, he was at East Carolina University. He said, you do the comic strip. I'll post it in the university newspaper. I said, cool, let's do that. So I created the comic strip. It was called Doc Dog. That's with two G's.
Okay.
And he was a narcissistic, arrogant kind of dog. He was a doctor. But not only was he a doctor, he was also a hustler. So not only was he a doctor, he had patients, he had side hustles too. Okay. And it did very well at the university paper. And after that, I decided at that point, this is what I truly want to do. I want to do cartoons and I want to syndicate the strip.
Wow.
And it
Wow.
took off. That's the history behind it.
Wow. Oh my God. So once you syndicated the strip, right? Because you said initially it was more something where, you get that encouragement, you get that support from a family member, and they're like, boom, go ahead into this field. I think you have like something in there. So you post you syndicate, I guess, the comic strip and stuff like that. So take us through what happened after that. I mean, how did people respond? What
Well,
made you actually go into where later, you kind of went into more like civil rights and stuff like that, where that's mostly what you do now, is where you focus on civil rights in the African American community.
you're absolutely correct. I attempted to syndicate the strip, but I kept getting rejection letters. Okay,
Wow.
rejection letter, rejection letter, rejection letter. I mean, the primary syndicates, King Features, Universal Syndicate, um, which I remember Lee Salem, because we talked to the phone so many times about what I should do to get syndicated. If for those who don't know, Universal Press Syndicate is the syndicate that syndicated Boondocks.
Mm.
Okay, that's how Boondocks got started. So I did this. I did the strip, and I'll never forget. As I said, okay, I can do this comic strip, get syndicated, make a lot of money. And I remember my brother saying, "Look, you got to remember when it comes to art, it's not about the money, it's about the passion." He said the money will come. He
Right.
said, but you got to be passionate. So I stuck with the passion. I did Doc Dog, and then from there I did another strip. Then I did another strip. Then I decided I wanted to move my business to Atlanta, and my brother came with me. We moved to Atlanta. Shelton started working as a art director for the Atlanta Voice.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, at the Atlanta Voice. I was working at Emory and still doing comic strips, but I was going to the Atlanta Constitution, showing back then the editorial cartoonists my work, and they would give me advice. Shelton said, we're in Atlanta now. He said, your work is good. He said, but have you considered maybe doing editorial cartoons?
Right.
I said, I never thought about that. I want to keep doing strips. And then I'll never forget it. I went to the Atlanta Constitution, talked to Doug Marlette. He was, at the time, he already passed away. He was the creator of the strip Kudzu. And he said the same thing. He said, Ron, this is good, but have you considered doing editorial cartoons? I said, no, but my brother mentioned that as well. So maybe I ought to give it a shot. And from that point, I started drawing editorial cartoons.
Wow.
And the Atlanta Voice was the first newspaper to pick up my editorial cartoons.
Wow. Wow.
Right.
That's so exciting.
Right. So from that point, I was like, okay, if I can get the Atlanta Voice, I can get some other papers. And keep in mind, when it comes to art, you got to be very passionate. You got to be driven. So and plus, I said maybe they'll syndicate my work. Now, my work back then was considered dark. it was tackling issues affecting the Black community.
Right.
The syndicates didn't like this. It's just too Black oriented. We don't think we could syndicate this. I said, well, I'll tell you what. If you can't syndicate it, I'll syndicate it myself.
Right.
So what I did, I started submitting my work to newspapers, and every week I was getting acceptance from newspapers. By the time I got done submitting all my work, I was self syndicated in over 75 newspapers.
Wow. Now, okay, so for those of you guys that are not familiar with this, can you kind of like give us a short synopsis? Like, how do you even get from the point where you draw it and then you go ahead and you submit it to the editorial papers or the papers and they go ahead and try to syndicate it? How do you even get to that point? Do you just go to an art director or how does that work?
No, you don't. What you do is now back in the day, what you did, you will buy the Holy Bible of art. It's called the Artist Market.
Oh,
If you go to Barnes and Noble, it comes out every year. It is called the Artist Market. It is the Bible for all artists, whether you're doing illustration, you're doing graphics, cartoons, everybody, everything is in there. And you have artists and editors instructing what you need to do to get to the
oh
next
my
level.
God, you guys, are you writing it down? The artist
You got to keep
market.
that in mind. Keep it in mind. I look. I swore by the Artist Market every year. The Artist Market was like $25. The book was like this thick, and it had every agency, every syndicate. It had everything was in there. So that's what you do. You get the Artist Market. Then,
I'm writing it
if
down.
you're a cartoonist, if you're a cartoonist, if you're attempting to get syndicated, what you do next is you have to create what is called tear sheets. And what tear sheets are actual samples of your work that has already been published. So you're taking a cartoon out of a newspaper that published your work, and you're tearing it, and you're sending it to another newspaper or to the syndicate. And back then they requested at least 12 to 15 tear sheets. That's proof that you've been published.
Right. Wow, wow. That is insane. Because I was just sitting here saying, like, how in the world do you even get to that point? I mean, because most of us, I mean, I know a few people who do illustrations who are, you know, or who are involved with, doing the whole editorial cartoonist and stuff like that, that would really love to know something like that. And believe it or not, it's not well known. A lot of people don't
No,
know.
it's not.
No, a lot of people don't. I didn't even know about it, and I do a lot of research. I tend to know a lot of like obscure facts and things that go on in the art world, and I didn't even really know about it. But then again, that's not really my field.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not something that I probably would know about. But I know it's a lot of people that would love to know about something like that because I mean, would that would that be work for all artists? I don't think so, right? That's more so if you're trying to be in a comic strip or you're trying to have your work published in like a magazine or something. Like what if you want to do something for a magazine?
No, that the artist market is for all artists.
Right, right, right.
So you could be an illustrator, you could be a graphic designer, you could be an animator, you could be any kind of artist.
Right.
It has when you look at it, it has different categories. So you have like so many pages for cartoonists who want to get syndicated, so many pages for graphic designers who want to work for an agency, and you have galleries, you have fine artists who are illustrators. So they had several different categories. But at the time, for me, my category was doing editorial cartoons, and I picked up the artist market religiously, and it would give you the year. It would say, for example, 2019 artist market, and you go to Barnes and Noble, you pick it up, and you go to your field, and you'll see the list of different companies that are looking for artists.
Wow. Oh my God, that's pro tip,
And
you guys.
how about this? How about this? Not only will you find those people, those companies, they have a subtitle and tell you what they're looking for and what you need to do before you submit.
Wow. Wow. That's insane. Hey guys, I see you guys in the chat. Don't forget to share this, like it, love it. Share this out. Let's get as many eyeballs as we can get on this live.
Yes, yes.
Ron, did you get a chance to share it out to your personal pages and stuff
Yes, I
like that?
did. I shared it on my personal page. I also shared it to my GG
Um,
cartoon page. I shared it there as well.
Give me 2 seconds. Let me share it out to a certain page. I thought I had shared it out already right there. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe not enough, right? Maybe not enough.
Right. Let's see
Um,
here.
okay, so I think I shared it out to a couple of people, so that's good. Yeah. So that is such beautiful information. Thank you so much for sharing that. This is exactly why, like, I get into this sort of stuff because we gotta help each other and share resources. It's so important, especially for artists in the African American community, because we don't share enough information.
No, we don't.
We don't share enough information. We always feel like, oh my God, you're gonna steal my information, or you're gonna be like doing this, that, and the third to me, or whatever. But no, it's not about
Hmm.
that. You know what I'm saying? It's about community, sharing resources, and helping each other, you guys. Okay, so next question, right? Who inspires you? Whether alive or dead, who inspires you?
Well, my brother inspired me the most. My brother, my older brother, has been my hero. He's been my mentor. I had a twin brother, and he passed away. He
Oh
also
no.
inspired me. Now, when it comes to professional inspiration, my biggest inspiration was George Harriman. And most folks not going to know this. George Harriman is the creator of the cartoon strip Crazy Cat.
Wow.
To this day is considered the greatest comic strip ever made, and he was a brother.
A Crazy Cat. So when was
Yeah.
Crazy Cat out?
Oh, Crazy Cat was out in the early 30s and 40s, and then it became an animated show. It was the art was brilliant,
Right.
just brilliant. But the story was amazing. It was about a cat who was in love with a mouse, and then you had a dog who was in love with the cat. But he would offer a pup every time the mouse hated the cat, so he would always throw a brick at the cat, and then the officer pup, the dog, would throw the mouse in jail. That was Crazy Cat.
Oh Lord. But you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of like Tom and Jerry. But
Well, guess what?
they probably stole it from him.
Now the
Cause
big the, it was Crazy Cat that influenced Peanuts, Tom and Jerry, Bugs Bunny, all the classic cartoons. It was George Harriman. He's the one who started the whole thing. And how about this? George Harriman, he always wore a hat. He always wore a hat because he didn't want people to see his kinky hair because he was a very light-skinned brother.
right.
So he always wore a hat so people didn't see his kinky hair.
Oh my God, really? So what he felt?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, what was it? The 30s. So I mean, back then you probably had to have like a pen name or some sort of cloak and dagger type of thing around your identity because you didn't in order for you to be published or in order for people to want to buy your stuff because I was looking at another podcast on YouTube
hmm
and it was another show really, and the person was talking about one of the illustrators when they was saying how as a African American illustrator, but in his case he's a fantasy artist. So he said he's gone out to all of these different like conventions and all, and when he was trying to get published, and he would go to all these publishing houses, a lot of publishers were, Caucasian. They didn't really want to publish him. They said that, they would say, okay, this is not really our aesthetic. That's the way they would put it. Like, this is not our aesthetic. But we knew what that meant. We knew
right.
I mean, he said he knew that meant they didn't want our people or because he would draw people that look like us, because in mainstream media and mainstream art you don't really see that, and especially in certain genres even to this day you still don't see a reflection of us. You know, specifically in fantasy art or the Major League cartoons or illustrations in magazine like New York Times magazines or any of those magazines,
Mm-hmm.
you really don't see illustrations of us, in which we're a big market. You know, black art is popping. Just in case you guys didn't
Mm-hmm.
know, like, hello, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Well, it's been orchestrated that way. It was designed that way. It was built that way from after slavery. The goal was to keep us oppressed. And I mean, let's face it. When it comes to art, images, image, and what we convey, what we perceive, gets seeped into the subconscious, and then we carry that with us. I mean, even the first one of the classic black and white movies, A Birth of a Nation. It was something. That was the movie that generated all the stereotypes, as well as cartoons that generate the stereotypes of black men and women being lazy, oversexed, and don't want to work, and all they want to do is entertain themselves. So
right,
it's
right, right.
this society had designed it that way. But thanks to social media, we have more control, and we can get out of that stigma.
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Exactly. I mean, and so now we have full control over how you see us. And not only that, but we can pump out more positive images of us as people and just our everyday lives. I mean, just the other day, Carrie Marshall, I don't think do you know him? He's an artist.
Mm-mm.
He's a big time artist. He just sold the painting at Sotheby's auction house for $2 million. It
Oh
was
wow.
it was absolutely bonkers. And meanwhile, most of his art is with African American people, but it's more like, I would say, illustrative fine art, because he depicts the African American people that he depicts in his art is mostly really really dark. Like, he never has
Mm-hmm.
like different shades. They all just
Mm-hmm.
have like a monochromatic dark, bluish dark skin, and you would never have thought that something like that would happen in a million years, because usually, only three, like, even in the market today, only 3% of us actually are out there in the mainstream and have our art in major league mainstream galleries. So,
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. Here's the deal. The thing is this: the market for black artists, the market is growing. There is a strong demand, and this is very important. This is not about the cartooning. This is about illustration. We're talking folks who dabs in the oils, the inks, and the acrylics. There's a strong market now for black art, and the people buying the black art are white folk. They're
right.
buying it because let me tell you why. Because white folks understand the investment in it.
Yeah.
There's Art is an investment, and as time goes by, that investment grows. Art grows. It becomes even more valuable, and white people understand that. So for illustrators trying to connect with like different galleries and agencies, I wouldn't bother with them. What I would do is I would go right to the people who are interested in buying your work and
Right.
just sell it like that's what I would do.
Right. Now, have you ever, like, because I know you said you basically syndicated your own comic strip and your own work. I mean, that's basically
Mm-hmm.
what you have to do. I mean, and that's some good advice. Like, when one door closes, just knock down the wall and create your own opportunities. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, when you did that, like, did you go to conventions? How did you get the word out there? Besides, how did you get the word out?
Well, keep in mind back then there was no social media. All you had was Kinko's.
Yeah.
You had Kinko's, you had the post office, and then and then you just you went out there. Atlanta at the time they had 14 black newspapers.
Mm.
At the time, I mean, it was bustling, it was moving. Atlanta back then was the black mecca. It was really moving. So what I did was I would go to Kinko's, make copies of my work, and then I would submit it to magazines and newspapers. Um, that was the only way to do it. And what you do is we're back to the artist market. You had the artist market, and then you had there was a periodical that I used to check out the library that had every newspaper on the planet, and it showed it in categories, and it had all the black newspapers. And what I did was I submitted it, and this was the trade magazine for syndicated cartoonists.
Mm,
It was called the Cartoonist Weekly. It came out every week.
right.
And then they had their annual book where you had every list of every newspaper in the United States with the phone number and the address. And what I would do is I would go through the list of all the papers. I would send like 50 submissions at a time. And that's how they was able to get my work. And what they would do, they would call me back. Back then, it was a little black and it was a Nokia phone. It was a Nokia phone,
Oh my
and
God.
that's how they responded. They said, "We like your work. What's the rate? How many cartoons do we get?" And blah blah blah. And that's how we did it. That's how I ran my business. Yeah.
Wow, wow. I mean, and that's, a lot of artists, especially nowadays, let's say the new artists like me and other artists or whoever, right, that's trying to get out there now. A lot of us complain about, oh, well, social media or the algorithm or all of that stuff. But I mean, back in the day, you really had to get your grind on. I mean,
You had to hustle, baby.
yes, I see you had the hustle.
Oh my God, you had
Go,
to hustle. I
put,
mean, back then, oh my God, you had to hustle. I mean, and look, okay, back then, okay, I didn't have a car. So I was like, okay, I gotta take the MARTA to the Champion newspaper. Then I gotta take the MARTA to the Atlanta Metro. Then I had to take the MARTA here and there. And back then, I'll never forget it. I went to the Atlanta Metro, and the publisher was saying, "Wow, this is good stuff." At the same time, there was other cartoonists coming and said, "Well, he had a great idea." He said, "Why don't we make our own syndicate?" It was called NW. It was called NWA Syndicate, and he put us on the front page. It was four of us, and it failed because he didn't follow through, and that's where I decided, okay, he's not going to follow through. Damn it, I could do it myself, and that's what I did.
so did you include the other artist that was with you at that particular time, or it was just like, okay, boom, I'm gonna just start my own thing right here.
I had to start my own thing.
Yeah,
They were doing their own thing, and I've been staying in touch with the artists. My work went further. Um, because after that, I said if I could do newspapers, I could do magazines.
right.
So I started submitting my cartoons to magazine. The first magazine was Emerge. You ever heard of Emerge?
I don't think I've heard of Emerge. Mm-mm.
Emerge was the premier progressive black magazine. It was opposite of Ebony. Ebony showed the glitz,
Right,
how these
right,
stars
right.
were living. They covered on some issues, but Emerge was gritty. I mean, it
Wow.
was grit. And I submitted my work to Emerge magazine, and Pamela Fortson was the editor. She called me and said, "We love your stuff. We want to use you every month. Put a cartoon by the editorial, and we'll be good." And I was with the Merge for like 2 years.
Wow, wow, wow.
And how about this? And they paid me.
Well, shit. I mean, that's the bottom line, right? I
The
mean,
bottom line is got to get paid. I was getting paid back then. They were paying me 500 a cartoon.
wow. $500 a cartoon.
Yep.
Good Lord. I mean, that is insane. Because, usually, with this type of stuff, you really got to hustle. But nowadays, I mean, with the saturation of the market of so many artists because of the explosion of social media, how did you deal with the transition? What is different for you now as far as getting your work out there? Or, I mean, do you feel like people had to rediscover you? Or, I mean, what did you feel?
Um, no, it's not so much about rediscovery. It's more about strategy. Um, I mean, I've been on Facebook. Okay, I went on hiatus for a while. I got Emerge magazine. I was in 75 papers. Now the paper industry was dying. Now, it was dying for mainstream newspapers.
Yeah.
So you can imagine what it was doing for black newspapers.
Oh
So
yeah.
I saw that the numbers were dropping and they could no longer afford to pay me.
Right.
And then the publisher of Emerge, he passed away, and they let Pamela go. And
Oh
then they moved on
no.
to my cartoons. So I went to, I think it was either Vibe, or Upscale, and I went and did a submission, and they said your stuff is too gritty. At that point, I said
Yee.
I'm done. At that point, I said I'm done, and I started working on my other business because that my other business was growing, it was booming, and I got out of the cartoon business. I stayed out the cartoon business for about maybe 5 or 6 years because my other business was booming. I mean, I was doing very well. I mean,
So what? Okay, so take us. Okay, because I know it's a lot of people. Like I'm curious. Like this is for selfish reasons too. But I mean, take us through like what are the diverse ways that a editorial cartoonist, illustrator, somebody in your field can make money? Like you don't have to tell us specifically what you make, but tell us what are the ways you can make money like in your market.
in my market, what I found was one of the most effective ways for me to make money was to, as much as I tried not to do it, I had to step into the digital realm.
Right.
I couldn't do, this was 1989. I couldn't do this anymore. Okay,
Wow.
and then go to Kinko's and start making copies.
No, you can't do that. But you know what? Now, I mean, what people are doing is they're doing their work and then they scan it in. So do you do
Right,
that?
scanning doesn't work. No, I tried that too. You gotta
Oh,
step. You gotta step into the digital realm. You can't scan. If you're still scanning, you're living in the caveman
but
days.
I mean, I will say this. I know some people, but then again, I mean, I guess it depends on what you're trying to do, how much output you're trying to get, and stuff like that. But I do know some people who do like traditional, because I guess traditional is considered drafting your work by hand, pen, paint, whatever it is. And then they scan it in, but then they go in digitally with some sort of like program, Photoshop, whatever, and then they go in on top.
I have the Adobe suite. I use Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop. I also use Sketchbook Pro. I use Storyboard Pro. Then I go ahead and purchase Harmony, Toon Boom Harmony. I use all those softwares. Um, if you're going to go that route, you're going to have to. When I say go into the digital realm, you're going to have to get a digital tablet. You can't.
Right.
You you cannot. Honestly, you really cannot move efficiently without a digital tablet. And if
Yeah.
you have a digital tablet, you can do your craft, or what would normally take about 2 or 3 weeks to do, you could do within a couple of days.
Wow. You know what? Because I think I'm kind of slow to deal with that. Like I recently just said, you know what? I'm gonna get Procreate. I don't know if you know about Procreate, but it's like an app where you go on and you can do like your digital like sketches. It's like similar to Photoshop, but it's more for like tablets and stuff like that, right? So I said I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna see if I can, because I think it's easier, not easier, but it's kind of faster if you do it on digitally
Hmm.
versus doing it by hand. And then that way, right.
All the work that you've seen so far that's not pen and ink has been done with this.
Oh, so I think
And
that's the Apple Pencil you have.
no, this is the Wacom pencil. This is to the right of me. I have a Cintiq board.
Yeah.
It's a TV screen that I draw on.
Ooh, you know what? I heard of that. A Cintiq board. Are you able to
Right.
pick it up and like kind of show us, or is it too big?
Let's see here. Hold on. Here we go. Here we go.
Here we go, guys.
There you go.
Oh, yes. I'm loving that. Oh my
There you
God.
go.
You know
There
what?
you
I've
go.
seen people who use that, the Cintiq board and all of that stuff. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. You know what?
So
I always wondered what that was.
Look, this pen has 2,500 pressure points.
Yeah.
So when you draw, it's like drawing on paper.
Oh, so it's
And
not
then
it's
when you
not delayed and all of that. Like,
there is no delay. Now I've got a Mac. I got a Mac. It's highly recommended if you can use a Wacom product, you better get a Mac.
okay.
If you get a laptop, you better have an i7 processor because if you don't, you can have lag time
Oh
and you're gonna
no.
overheat your processor. Okay, so I've been able to do everything I'm doing now, everything you've seen, even this GG in the back of the behind me
Right.
was done with this.
Oh, wow. So what did you do? Did you have somebody print out like a big thing for you to put back there, or you just what? Like, how did you do
Well,
it?
I was invited to several Comic Cons a few years ago. When I was introducing GG, some people recognized it. Could you come to our Comic Con? So I needed a banner, so I had a company create the banner for me. Uh, and rule of thumb, if you're going to do a banner, you can't go no less than 300 DPI. If you
Right.
go under 300 DPI, it's going to get washed out. So
Yeah.
that's what I did. I forgot the name of the company that did this banner for me, but they did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, it looks good. I love it. So how, I
Mhm.
mean, fill us in. Tell us how's Comic Con. Oh my God, you guys. Like, I know you be probably like, oh, she's so, like, she's hogging all the time. No, but I need to know what's going on. I'm like selfishly asking him a bunch of questions because I need to know when people are like seasoned in the game, they have so much to offer. I really want to know about it. Okay. So anyway, like fill us in about Comic Con because I'm like telling one of my artist friends, I was like, yo, I want to go to Comic Con one year, and let me put this in here because I think it's hitting the thing. But yeah, I want to go to Comic Con one year because I think it would be good. But it's kind of hard to get in Comic Con unless they invite you, right?
Well, it's not hard to get to a Comic Con. You can go in as a fan, or you can just go in as a person who they invite, and you set up a booth. I've done both. Going in and set up a booth is amazing.
Okay.
The artists that you meet,
Mhm.
I can't show you everything, but there's artists in there who are more vintage than I am. I mean, who have done some serious comic books
Right.
that I've met at Comic Con, and we've just exchanged art.
Right.
Comic Con I recommend, even if you don't draw cartoons and comic strips and those kind of things, and you're a fine artist, an illustrator, go to a Comic Con. There's nothing like it because you're meeting people who have that same type of creative energy that you do, and
Right.
and the information you get from these folks is just amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure it is because I
Mm-hmm.
mean it's like some phenomenal people that like blow your whole mind
Mm-hmm.
on what is possible in the realm of art. And I mean, even if you think you like the dopest shit on earth, like you go to a Comic Con, you like, oh nah, I don't even know what's happening.
You learn to humble yourself at a Comic Con.
Oh
You
my,
and I thought my mess was correct. I had my GG coffee mugs, I had my videos, the TV screen was up showing previews. I had GG cards, and then I had the T-shirts. Shoot, my wife was dressed like Lanita. She had the afro, having the
what?
green dress and everything. I mean, I said we're gonna be slamming. We good. We good. We're golden. We golden. I got that. I said, damn, we just didn't come prepared.
Oh no. Oh my God. Yo, let me tell you, I was looking at somebody, right? I was somebody that was at Comic Con, and I mean they had like two or three, like a whole like thing, like a whole two, three, four booths. I mean they had the big
Uh-huh.
banner. I mean they had people in the front. They had flashing lights. I mean glitz, glamour. People really go all out at these things, you guys. So if you trying to get in there, you know what I'm saying, you better bring your A game, honey, because
Bring it. You better spend some money.
yes,
You
yes.
don't go in there. Don't go in there with a cardboard box behind you with some pictures tacked to the cardboard.
Or like a pegboard or some crazy shit in the background, and then you got like stuff back
You
there.
can't do that, baby. You can't do that.
No, 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 because you got to bring it. You know. Now at the okay, so did you go to like the traditional like Comic Con New York, Comic Con LA, or did you go to like? one of the more Afrocentric Comic Cons? Because I know they have those Comic Cons also.
I've been to the conventional Comic Cons, but also I've been to some of the smaller Comic Cons. I haven't been to, not to this day, I haven't been to any Afrocentric Comic Cons.
You know,
Um,
I heard it was you know what, I'm gonna find out the name for you if you don't know, but one of the illustrator guys I was looking at, he said that he's been to like two or three just it's not that you know other cultures can't be in the Comic Con, but it's mostly predominantly focused on people of color
right.
at those particular Comic Cons. So I think it's a good thing to do. I'm actually going to look into it myself. I think it's very important for us to travel and for us to be seen more in comic books and these movies. I mean, because
Absolutely.
you know, black people like sci-fi stuff. We like
The thing is this, we already know that, Marvel's doing it, Disney they're introducing black characters, but it's not, honestly, I'm gonna keep it real, that's not helping us.
right.
That's not extending generational wealth.
That's true.
All we're doing, take Black Panther for example. Black Panther. I grew up on Black Panther,
Right,
but
right,
Black Panther was created by Stan Lee.
right.
Now, Black Panther, we was going in droves to see Black Panther. We were dressed in our African garments, and we were doing dances at the end of the movie and all this stuff. Made Black Panther made Disney $1 billion.
Yeah,
What did it do for us? It didn't do nothing for us. I mean, we didn't create any generational wealth from Black Panther. So we have to get to the point now at this stage of the game where,
amen.
as you see how the current condition of things, we have to start focusing on generational wealth, and we got to get out of the disease of individualism and focus on the issues that's facing us as a community.
I agree. I agree. I mean, you're right because at the end of the day, but you know what it is too. Also, the way kind of mainstream media kind of let's say how they advertise to us is
Mm-hmm.
because I think we touched on this a little bit. How they advertise to us is totally different how they advertise to other cultures. And they advertise to us and it puts like a psychological warfare on our brains where we're not necessarily focused on you know the big picture. We're more focused on however they packaged it and advertised it to us, like, oh, this is a movie for you, this is a movie about you, all about you, you know, da da da. So then people got excited, which it was a movie for us and about us, but at the end of the day, you know, it wasn't really. I don't know, I mean, was that a black director? Because I think they said that was the first black director that was actually on that particular movie.
I believe it was a black director, and it had an incredible black director with an incredible black staff. I mean, black cast. I mean, there's no doubt of that. But
Right,
here's the thing.
right.
Here's the thing. I remember having a long conversation with a marketing strategist, and she was also a marketing instructor. She was calling me from Singapore, and we was talking about GG and cutting edge cartoons and other stuff. And she said, "Here's the deal." She said, "When it comes to marketing the black people, marketing firms market the black people different than any other group. Well, all the other groups, when they market, it's about how it affects the entire community." He said, "But when it comes to black people, it's about self gratification."
Right, right, right. I mean, boom, you hit the nail
There
right
you
on the
go.
head.
There you go. There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's why we're in this conditioning that we're in right now. That's why we can't help but soon as a company makes a fancy chicken sandwich, we don't mind waiting in line and eating it and getting chicken sandwich. But yet we won't spend a dollar or a dime to help to
Ah,
help promote a black business
yo, if
because
I
it's about self gratification. And my boy Kellen just joined. My bro Kellen has just joined.
hear,
If you don't
hello,
know,
hi, hi,
Kellen
everybody.
he's the author of oh man, London and Sydney.
Okay.
He is the author of London and Sydney. I did the illustration. He's the author and his wife, and we become good friends. He's like a brother to me.
Well, that's great. You got to send me that information when we get off the live. But yeah, we're going to post, tell him to put that in the comments. Whatever the book is, the website, whatever it is that you illustrated, tell him to put it in the comments and I'll pin it after we're done.
And look like Iris is joining and Bernice is joining. What's going on, Bernice?
Hey, everybody. What's poppin'? You guys are in the house. We just got into the thick of it, you guys. We having a full-blown conversation. We talking about the damn chicken sandwich. If I hear another word, if I hear another word about that chicken sandwich, I'm gonna kill myself. I can't even do it.
People were fighting over that chicken sandwich.
You know what? And you know what? The crazy shit, right? Okay, let me put you up on a T. You probably already know about it, right? Because we on the same wavelength. That chicken, right, is what is it called? Louisiana, Texas. It's called Texas chicken, something like that. That chicken is originally thought up in Canada. It's not even a southern thing.
Oh my God.
The person that owns the company lives in Canada, you guys. Okay, ain't nothing southern about that chicken. All right.
There's nothing southern.
All right.
It's all about that self-gratification.
Exactly. It's about they know how to sell to us, how to take our coins, but it's not going actually into our pockets. And hello, we know how to. Who knows how to make fried chicken better than we do? So
Thank you.
Make your own damn fried chicken and slap some sauce on it and keep it moving. Like
there you go. Better yet, find a black-owned restaurant and get your chicken sandwich.
Yeah. You know, I was like, oh my God, these people are actually fighting over a chicken sandwich. I just couldn't believe that was even going on. But you know what? That just made us look real ratchet and real terrible all the way around the board.
Let's blame Black Twitter on that one because they started the whole trend. They did
exactly because we were like, this chicken sandwich is good or whatever. But I mean, you know what? As we talk about this subject, we're talking about the realm of how they advertise to us, but it goes back into your illustrations, past illustrators, especially just illustration and art period has set the tone. Illustration, art, and advertising all go hand in hand, right? And it sets the tone with how people see you, how people see a certain culture and stuff like that. What have they depicted of us all of these years? All we like is fried chicken, right? All we like is fried chicken, watermelon, cocoa butter on the big lips or whatever. They think that's all we like. So that's what they advertise to us. And it's like, hello, like meanwhile, I don't even like I like chicken, but I don't rock with fried chicken like that. I take the skin off. Like I know it's blasphemy, but I be taking the skin off. I be taking the skin off. Yes, I do, guys. So don't even send me no hate mail. That's right. I don't even rock with fried chicken like that. Okay. So
it's interesting. It's interesting how perception is everything.
Yes.
Because the first cartoon was done. The first editor cartoon was done in the 1800s. During the Wilmington riots, it was those cartoons of how they depicted black people that stirred up people, white people, thinking that black folks that we were savages and we were lazy. And during that time, we was running the show. I mean, we were running the businesses. We were, we were in Congress.
Exactly.
Okay?
Now,
I mean, we were back then. We were Republicans. We were business owners.
Right. Now, going back, and we're gonna touch on that a little bit, you guys. Where, years ago when remember we was talking about that last night, where the Wilmington 9 happened, or the whole Wilmington thing happened. When that whole thing happened, a lot of people don't really know about that, right? A lot of people, especially even black people that may live right now, 2019 in Wilmington, North Carolina, don't know about the fact that our whole ancestry was lynched. All the people all African American people that were business owners, that were entrepreneurs, that were killing it, that were doing their thing, owning homes, owning businesses. The government wouldn't give us our 40 acres and a mule, so we said, fuck it, 2 tears in a bucket. We're gonna get out there and we're
There
gonna
you
get our
go.
own, business, and we're gonna do our thing. And it was even part of the government. But what happened is, going back to the art, right? They used art back in those times to illustrate us as being savages. The big male black brute is gonna come in, and I wish I had printed that out because I remember that illustration to this day. And this was what, 200 years ago that this happened. That illustration where they had a big black monkey, right? Towering over the Caucasian woman, the white woman, scratching her eyes out and whatever. So they depicted us as being these, savagery, disgusting people. And then that continued on generation to generation to generation, to where we had to go through all of these fights now, to even get into the scene.
Well, the black male has always been considered the white man's biggest threat, and the white woman was considered the world's greatest treasure.
Right,
So
right.
they've always used that back in the day up to now, where the black man is always trying to get with the white woman. And if you know your history, when it came to Rosewood, come to Black Wall Street, came to Wilmington, it was always that it was a black male raping a white woman. And we know that never happened, but that's what they always accused the black man of. And that got all these white dudes all revved up. And what they do, they tear down and kill and destroy everything that's black owned and black related. And
Right.
with Wilmington, they destroyed all the businesses. A lot of all the black men and women, they fled Wilmington for their lives because they was afraid if they stayed in Wilmington they would die. And even during the 80s, the first GW used Willie Horton, and
Mm.
that's how he was able to win the presidency, because Willie Horton, they used him on in campaign commercials, and he was a black man, and he looked like he was a threat, and he served time, and they used the fact that he got out because of weak laws, and he went out and started raping and killing people.
Wow.
So it's
Wow.
something that's kind of been saturated in our society and is saturated into our minds. So while we are dealing with the issue of self-hatred, they're dealing with the issue of what they've been fed all these decades of how we are and what they think of us to this day. You know.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the thing, So, I mean, now we are basically trying to continuously peel back that veil. But I mean, it's so many years of conditioning that, at some point, how much can you actually peel back? It's something that at this point is kind of ingrained into American society. So we can only do what. So what we need to do, right, as a people, is to help each other, encourage each other, pay it forward more. You know, make sure that we're pushing more positivity in through our art. Because basically, we're the ones, the artists, us, me, and you. We're the ones making the world a better place. So,
Well, think of it this way. I mean, I got tired of seeing certain images of black women. Um, the Housewives of Atlanta kind of images of them fighting and all the other stuff. And that was one of my that was one of the reasons why I created Gigi. It wasn't just the grandma character you see behind me, but I decided to create a family. You see Marcella, you see Shanice, you see Lanita. They're strong. They're beautiful black women. They think for themselves. They're family. But not only that, I lined them up. Each one have their own man.
right, right.
So now you bring in the whole idea of black love and black relationship and black family, and that's why I created Gigi. You know.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I wouldn't call it. Well, I wouldn't. To me, it wasn't like an illustration. It was more like a storytelling, like cartoon. It was more like something like that, where I thought it was a good. I only seen a short piece. I've never actually seen a full like thing. I mean, do you have a full video, or where can we find? Do we go to your page? Where can we
You
find a
could go.
full?
You can go to my Facebook page. You can go to my Instagram page. Here's the deal. I grew up on Scooby Doo.
Right.
I grew up on the Brady Bunch. I grew up thinking that white girls were the most prettiest girls on the planet, and if you're a black girl, you was ugly. That's what they
Right.
taught me.
That
It
is.
was years later.
But you know what? What's funny? I don't mean to interrupt you, but what's funny, right? When I want to get the story out before I forget. When I was like 10 years old, right? I was
Hmm.
living in Rochdale, New York at my grandma's house, and they used to have the commercials, right? And the commercials had the woman, the pretty like white women or Caucasian women with like, they be walking around, they got their little Jordache jeans on or whatever, they Guess jeans, whatever was popular at that time. This is the 80s. And I'm like, oh my God, I said to myself, why is my butt, I want a flat butt. I was like, I need a flat butt. I was I was like, why is my butt not flat? I was like, Grandma, stop. I was like, what's wrong with my butt?
Oh God.
Yeah. but but you know what? Like, I mean, we can laugh at it now, but it's like that's the type of thing that gets into your mind. That's how it's so much of a saturation of a certain culture, and how a certain culture is held up to be so beautiful that you start to really question yourself and your self-identity. I mean, at 10 years old, that's all I see in the magazine. I mean, we had Ebony magazine, we had Jet magazine, but I mean, the most saturated portions of it was that particular image where you seen, the pretty white girls with the long blonde hair and the tight Jordache jeans and the flat booty. I mean, they don't have flat booties
Hmm.
anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Now,
saying? But back,
now it's the opposite.
yeah, but back in the day, they must have been eating some of that Popeye's chicken. You know what I'm saying? Woo! But
Oh my God.
yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's pretty much like that's what you have in your mind, and that's where art comes in, where we need to start pumping more now with social media and with a black artist and a lot of under people that didn't have the opportunity to really get their stuff out there, that wasn't being published, like when you were first starting, you had to really get to the grindstone. Now is our time. It is our time to show beautiful images of us, something that we can pass on to our children, something that our children feel proud of. They don't feel like, oh, I want a flat booty too. you know
See, that's the thing. This is where we have to change the narrative. We have to control our own media. We have to control media, not just for ourselves, but for kids. So when I want black boys to look at black girls and say, "Wow, they're beautiful.
You're beautiful.
You're beautiful." And I want black teenagers, male teenagers, to look at black teenage females and say, "You're beautiful."
Right.
And I want black girls to see black boys as being kings, being strong, and being protectors. The only way that's going to happen if we change the narrative. Mainstream media is not going to do that. And I can tell you right now, we know this from that debacle of that scene of what we see with Amber Geiger.
Oh yeah,
They
yeah, yeah, yeah,
completely flipped it. By the time they got done with Amber,
yeah.
Amber Geiger was now the victim.
That's right.
You had the judge hug her. You had the young brother, which he don't understand. He doesn't under. I don't think he understood the implications of what he did of that action and how they hugged.
And how that shook the whole fabric of the
It
African.
shook the whole fabric of the African American community. Then you had the debate of stroking her hair,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and then you had the dad say, "I want to be friends with Amber." Now all of a sudden, Amber is the victim.
Right.
Okay. And then the main witness, one of the main witnesses, the brother. I
Right.
think his name
Right.
was Joshua. Joshua.
Yes. And then that whole thing went down, and he was, as far as I'm concerned, murdered and assassinated. you know, and
And
what.
not only that, now he's labeled he's now
But
labeled a
you know,
drug dealer.
the facts behind that particular case, which we're not gonna get. This is not political, you
Yeah,
guys.
we won't go
We're
there.
not gonna
Yeah,
get too much into it, but I do want to touch on it a little bit because you did do an illustration on that, which we'll put up in the comments later, you guys, so you can see the illustration if you want to see it. But you know, Ron did an illustration on that I thought was absolutely you know, it was a beautiful illustration, and I felt like it was so like on trend about what's really going on, and to make people in our community think, because that's what art is all about, is to make you think, is to represent your culture, is to make people in our culture feel beautiful, and to show us that it's important to help each other. It's important to be proud of who you are and not feel like you always have to turn the other cheek. You know,
absolutely.
you know, you don't always have to turn the other cheek. Why do we always have to be the one to turn the other cheek? Now, the whole point behind that case, the facts behind that case. Well, I'm going to use facts in a loose manner. The facts behind that case was so sketchy because they said he was a drug dealer. You know, the guys came from Texas or whatever it is to come get weed. Now, mind you, weed in Texas is legal, right? Because
Thank you.
right? So so let's put that out there, you guys. Weed in Texas is legal. So why the hell would you leave a state where things are legal to go to what, Louisiana, wherever he was at? To go over to Louisiana where it's illegal to buy weed. It just doesn't make any
Absolutely.
sense.
Right. And not only that, I mean, he was a key witness. You would think if he was a drug dealer, you would think that the prosecution would have been deep into this gentleman's this brother's his information, his lifestyle, what he does, and everything else, and it was never mentioned. It's only mentioned now so that they can flip the narrative to make black look bad and white look good.
Right, right,
Plain and
right.
simple.
But you know, that puts us against each other. I was telling somebody the other day, at this day and age, as far as I'm concerned, we didn't make up the rules of the game. We just playing by the rules of the game, and we refuse to tolerate it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I feel about it. You know, I know some people may be very upset with some of your illustrations or your points of view, and that's okay. But at this point, at this stage in the game in 2019, 400 years after the first boat was brought over here in 1619, there's no way. 2019, so literally 400
Mm-hmm.
years later, we're in 1619, 2019, and we're still debating these nonsense, or having to like justify, well, who, you know, the white person did this or the black person did that, and da 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 da. There should be no separation. But unfortunately, since there is still a separation, it is up to us to fight for that and to continue to make our own separate area where we can thrive and build generational wealth, you guys. Okay?
Absolutely, and that's where you have this issue with individualism. What we've been programmed to not so much fight for the entire community, but just to fight for ourselves. In other words, when I was growing, it was about, hey, you know, I made it, you can make it too, but you got to work like I work. And we have to get away from that type of mentality. We have to learn to mesh together and network together, communicate together, and build together. It's not so much about me.
Right.
Because I'll be perfectly frank with you. I could have drawn about cartoons, like other cartoonists have done, that were soft, that weren't going to create a dialogue, that weren't going to be threatening to the dominant to this system of white supremacy, and I could make even more money. But I chose to draw about issues that are affecting our community. Now I can tell you right now, you could be Democrat, Republican. That's not going to help us if
Right.
you don't have your own wealth. If you don't have ownership, we've got to focus on ownership. You can't buy your politician if you ain't got no money.
Right, 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 right. Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so that leads me into my next point, you guys. Now, since some of you, well, a lot of you probably haven't seen his illustrations yet, but some of them are really controversial on some, on some people's radar and some people's point of view. I'm a type of person where I'm very open-minded. I like to open up a dialogue because that's how you learn. Even from people that you don't necessarily agree with, as long as you are open to a dialogue, as long as you are open to someone else's point of view, you can
Mm-hmm.
learn where they're coming from and why they do certain things, and decide whether, okay, well, bam, you may learn that, okay, I do have something more in common with this person, but I was so judgy in the beginning, I didn't give it a chance to even figure out what was really going on.
Mm-hmm.
So lead us into, because I know with the controversy around a lot of your illustrations, how do you deal with that controversy? How do you deal with that negativity? And tell us about the death threats, you guys. Like, it's been insane. He told me about the death threats yesterday.
Yeah.
And lead us
It's,
a
it's
little bit into that.
it's one of the reasons why I don't spend too much time on social media on my personal pages, because I'm more concerned about my family.
Right.
So, and a lot of those death threats, most of them started on Facebook, and this was back in the day when Facebook was really an organic platform. I mean, it was. I mean, back then I was getting 1,000 followers a week.
Wow. Wow.
That's when I was almost hitting about 120,000, and then Facebook decided to become public, and they had stockholders, and they started changing algorithms. But back then, people were looking at my work, and many people who were white supremacists and neo Nazis, they would say they're coming after me. They say, we don't like what you're talking about. We're going to find you, and we're going to kill you. We're going to kill your family.
Oh God.
Okay, it's to the point now that I've also been labeled a black extremist
Mm. Mm. Mm.
because of my work.
Right.
You know,
And that, I mean, how does your family feel? Let's say that. Let's lead into the next point. How does your family feel about your art, and how do they feel about people threatening you? Because, like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's images, it's art. You guys can always scroll by. You don't have to look at it. But the point is, people are too judgmental. People are too nosy, right? And out of
mm-hmm.
order, and you're busy minding other people's business. If you don't like a certain thing, like there's certain pages I see, I'm like, nah, that's not for me. And I scroll by and go about my business. I'm not gonna go on the page and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you."
Well,
you know,
the thing is this. If you're a brother or sister, you're on code. If you're on code, then now you become a threat to the system.
right,
Now, keep in mind, Boffin's young brother, the bailiff, and the judge. I ain't trying to go into that. They were off
right,
code.
right,
They are not a threat to the system. But anybody who is about black empowerment, about black love, back then on Facebook we had groups of different black pages,
right.
and we were building. I mean, we were growing, and Facebook just dismantled all of that. I mean, just all got dismantled. Back then, I was getting suspended. I got suspended as long as 30 days.
Wow, wow. You know what's crazy is, and we're not going to get too much into that, but you know what's crazy? I know a lot of friends that have been sharing like editorial images, like, some comic strips and some illustrations like similar to yours about the whole situation that happened with Amber Geiger and stuff like that. And they've gotten Facebook jail for 30 days. They've gotten, their whole account suspended. And I'm like, I didn't even know Facebook had a jail. Okay. So it's
Oh
like,
yeah, I've been there several times.
woo! But
And
yeah.
keep in mind, keep this in mind with Facebook. Facebook is partnered with the police.
Oh,
Oh yeah, keep that in mind. Facebook partners with the police.
right.
That's a known fact. So if you're going against the police, now you are a threat. Just like that sister, her name is Bunny.
Uh,
She uh She lost her Facebook page. She was the primary witness. She would have took the video showing Amber going back and forth pacing while Brother Botham was gone.
Oh, I didn't know
She
that.
lost her job. She lost her
What?
job. Instagram shut down her pages. Facebook shut down her pages, and she's been getting death threats ever since.
Oh my
Check
God.
out check out the Advice Show. Brother Phil, she she gave him the interview. She only gave two interviews, and one was with Brother Phil, and it will blow your mind.
Right.
Of the stuff that she's gone through. She lost her job. She received death threats. Facebook took down all her pages, even her business page when she was doing T-shirts, took
Right.
down those pages, and now she has to start over.
Oh my God. That is like, you know,
Yeah,
whole mind is just blown. Like, and that's why I say, even a lot of people think that racism is dead, all of these things are gone, but 400 years later, we are still here, still dealing with the nonsense that we shouldn't even have to freaking deal with. And a lot of people
yeah,
don't want to hear about it. I mean, even our own people, and that's exactly why in popular culture or art or illustration, they put these depictions of overs. We still have depictions, even in our own community of artists and black artists, where everything's over sexualized. Everything's about,
yep.
you know, getting money, but you're getting money, but you're not really getting money because you're not really investing it. You're not really doing anything. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, what's the point? You know what I'm saying? Or you're not really
Mm-hmm.
paying it forward. You're not really helping. So it's like, what's the point? You know what I'm saying?
I
So,
agree.
you know,
It's the responsibility. It is the responsibility of the black community to stay empowered and focus on the agenda. But more importantly, it's important for white people and other groups to understand. Yes, the problem exists, but speak out on it.
right.
Their silence become the problem.
Exactly, exactly. If you are silent and complacent in something like that, when you see something like that going on, even though you are not the main perpetrator, you are just as culpable as that person doing the actual act. So
Absolutely.
you can't come say after the fact, oh, I seen it, or I may have seen it, but then I just feel whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't know. It's a good thing that you're doing. I love your work. I admire your work. I admire your hustle. I so many things that I feel like I can learn from you. That so many people can learn from you. You know. So let's go on to our next question. I think we talked about. Okay, are you with a gallery? Let's touch on that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Are you with?
I'm not with the I'm not with the gallery, but when I was in Atlanta, my work, I was invited to display my work in a couple of galleries.
Yeah.
So I did do a couple of shows, and they were strictly cartoon shows. You had other cartoonists, and I was invited to highlight my work.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And that's a wonderful thing. That's a beautiful thing. I mean, do you have any advice for people that want to get into a gallery?
Um, if you My advice, if you want to get into a gallery, just kind of broaden your horizons. There is a demand, though. There is a demand, and I said this earlier. There is a demand for black art, so don't be shy in going to a gallery with your work, because the goal with the gallery is to sell the art.
Right.
So whether it's black or white, the primary color in that point is green. So
Yeah.
the gallery the
Exactly.
gallery would be more interested in selling your work. And if they see your black art, they know there's a demand for it. They understand the investment in black art.
Right.
So don't be shy. Don't hesitate. Go in there with your art, go in there with your portfolio, and get to it.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Okay, so let's move on to our next question. Let's say, um, I mean, we talked about your style, how long it took you to develop your style, how long it took you to do things. Let's say, what is your 5-year goal? Like, what is your goal going forward? Do you have a goal for your business, for your art, or what do you see yourself in as far as your art career in 5 years?
In 5 years, I see myself creating an animation studio. Plain and simple.
Whoa,
five
well,
years.
I'm in there like swimwear, you
Okay,
guys.
that's
Ow.
why I created Gigi. To go with to go with Gigi is the Gigi. You know how when you looked at a Dr. Seuss cartoon and
Yes.
the first cartoon she was Cat in the Hat. You
Yeah.
see the logo with Cat in the Hat. That's Gigi. She's
Oh.
my logo. Okay,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
what I want to do is create. I want to create a animation studio so that I can hire black animators, black borders, black illustrators, and black voiceovers, and give them an opportunity to expand on their goals and their dreams. That's the goal.
Wow. Wow. Well, yes, I just want to pray many blessings over that wish and that dream and may it come to fruition, you guys. I know a lot of times people be dreaming about things, but unless you put action behind it and you actually putting plans on it, it's really not going to come true, you guys. There's no, you can't just dream it. It's at that point you're just dreaming. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Yeah.
You got to do more than just dream. You got to plan, and more importantly, you got to invest.
Right.
If you're not willing to invest in yourself, don't expect other people to invest in you. It's
Yes.
just that simple.
Yes.
And I took the time, I took the money, I made the investment, and I'm willing to invest even more. And not only that, you have to learn to invest in others. So what I've
Yeah.
learned to do is I practice this. I invest in other people's dreams.
Yes. Yes.
That's very important. And that's something as a people we really got to get off our asses and start doing. We
Exactly.
got to start learning how to invest in ourselves. Because one day, what I invest in may come back, and that person will invest in me. I mean, we got to do what other groups are doing, and we have to deal with. We have to focus on group economics,
Right.
basically.
Right. Right. Pretty much group economics. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if people don't understand that. So many people are so focused, especially specifically in our community. People are so focused on self and what's going to be good for me and what are you going to do for me and how are you going to promote me, how are you going to promote my music, my art, my dreams, my me, but nobody's
Mm-hmm.
really focused on, at the end of the day, the more global goal, or the
Mm-hmm.
goal as a whole is for us to be more to build generational wealth by help. And how do you build that? You By helping each other, by promoting each other, by celebrating each other, by lifting each other up when you see that somebody's trying to create a goal. If you notice one of your fellow artists or whoever it is are trying to create something, lend a hand, say, boom, okay, I see that you're struggling in this particular area. How can I help you there? Can I, give you, some help in that particular area? Can I give you more skills? Can I donate $1? You know,
Mm-hmm.
any little thing can help a struggling business get to where they need to get. You know what I'm saying?
As
And
long as that business, as long as along, and I don't mean to interject, but as long as that business understands the importance of evolving, the reason why Best Buy and Amazon, and I always use them as examples, the reason why they're still powerhouses because they decided to evolve.
right.
Best Buy knew that they could not repair computers, so what did they do? They bought the Geek Squad.
Yeah,
Best Buy
yeah.
knew that they had no clue what high end audio was and high end video. So what did they do? They got Magnolia. Amazon was created in the garage, but the creative Amazon knew that he had to expand and he had to bring other people on board. And now he's the richest man on the planet. Now we have to kind of have that. We have to have that same type of attitude. We have to, for example, We Buy Black. We Buy Black is a wonderful platform. To me, I call it the Black Amazon.
Yeah.
But we Buy Black is now stagnant. Why? Because they choose not to evolve. They don't want other groups coming in and assisting, offering their assistance because they feel like, hey, this is our show. We do this for black people. You just get up here and see if you can sell your stuff. It doesn't work that way.
No,
They have
it
to they
doesn't
have
work
to
that
find a
way.
way to be even better. They got to try to be better, which means they will have to change. And that's why a lot of black businesses become stagnant because they refuse to change because they don't want to release some of that power to another person.
Right. But more importantly, we fail to forget, if you want something higher, or if you want to get up to a certain level, or you want to do more, you got to step your game up to be more.
Absolutely.
You can't just say,
Absolutely.
oh, bam, I want this, I dream of this, I set my goal to do this, that, and the third, but you show up late, you ratchet, you don't
Mm-hmm.
have good customer service, your business model is messed up, you don't treat
Mm-hmm.
people how you expect to be treated as a person. So all of those
Mm-hmm.
things go into building a proper business, especially as African American people. And that's another thing that we still are kind of, inching along, eking it out, trying to figure that whole thing out. But we are so reluctant to take help and to help each other. That's why we're going to continue to be where we are. Like let me tell you, when I first started being an artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't discover art until my late 30s. When I first started being an artist, I went to some of the top artists in my field, and I'm not going to name any names, right? But I went to some of the top artists in my field, which is the fine art, portraiture, stuff like that, right? I went to those artists, Black African American artists, and I heard crickets. Okay? Everybody's
Yep.
mouth was closed. Nobody wanted to help. Nobody wanted to do anything. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Everybody was like, I ain't got nothing to say. Or they don't answer you, or they got an attitude. And you're like, what is that about? What is that
It's, it's
about?
it's sad. It's
It's
sad, and
sad.
unfortunately, it's sad. Unfortunately, a lot of our people, many of our people, particularly our black celebrities in our boule class, uh, they like it that way. They don't want to see other people succeed. They rather have people follow and they lead.
Right. Right.
And as long as we keep that type of mentality, we will continue to be oppressed as a people. But here's the thing: we're oppressing ourselves now. Now I'm making
Yeah.
my practice. If anybody need my assistance, anybody need my help, I will love to help. And if I see something that other artists is doing, if I can pay, I'm going to pay.
Yeah.
But in
Yeah.
turn, in turn, you do the same. And that's the problem with so many of these artist platforms. Everybody wants to sell their work. Everybody wants to sell their work. But when they post something, you'll have like 10,000 people follow 10,000 members on in a group page. And when a person posts something, you may get maybe 9 or 10 likes. That's
Right.
unacceptable.
Right.
That's
Right.
unacceptable.
Right.
That tells you the mindset of the entire community. It's
Right.
only about them. It's only about what they want, not what the
Exactly.
community needs.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like, if you and I'm part of a lot of different groups, you guys. I'm part of
Mm-hmm.
I'm part of different artist groups, period, that have a myriad of diverse different racial groups, racial backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds. So it doesn't matter. But if I go to another group, or a group where it's a diversity, or maybe have more predominantly Caucasian people, or whatever you want to call it, you get a lot more participation. They're helping each other. They're talking about resources in the comments. They're really digging in, trying their best to help one another up. And that's what you don't get. It's all part of like the building blocks. It's all part of a chain link of DNA. We all
Yep.
make up little bits and pieces that make us stronger. So if you put in a little, I put in a little. We start building the blocks to where we need to be, so we become a strong, beautiful community that I know we can be. Um,
Absolutely.
but that's true. You get into some of these groups and everybody's about, oh, it's about me. Just post my work. This is what I'm
Yep.
selling. Get my
Mm-hmm.
t-shirts, buy my sneakers, whatever, whatever. But then when you contact them, you hear crickets. They don't want it.
There you go.
They don't want to support. They don't want to reach out. They don't want to pay it forward. Or if you ask them, can you pay it forward? Can you help this particular person? Because I don't have the time. They're looking at you like you have 12 heads.
Yep. 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 That's the disease of individualism.
It's about individualism. It's about selfishness. And at the end of the day, people are not understanding. It's all about paying it forward. That is the way these other cultures get where they need to be. Like, get on board, people.
Yep.
Okay, get on board. Wake up and stop playing around. Let's get it in. Like, even in
Hmm.
my group that I started, which is the new group, you know, I'm all about, and this is all a new realm because I guess maybe it was the way I was raised. I was raised about paying it forward, helping my community, doing things for other people and stuff like that. That's how I was raised, and I think it's kind of hardwired into me. I enjoy giving back. I enjoy helping people and seeing people flourish, seeing people do their thing. So for me, I think because of that, I this is why I started the podcast. This is why I started YouTube. This is why I started the groups and all of these different avenues to help artists, especially African American artists that are
Hmm.
just getting out there so they don't feel as alone and as
Hmm.
abandoned as I felt when I first got into the artist community. I felt so alone. I felt like it, even though I seen all of these beautiful African American artists that was out there doing their thing, killing it, crushing it in the game, I felt so alone that no one would help me. No one would even just give me a resource, lend me a hand, give me some porridge, Pete.
Right.
Can I get some porridge? Can I get some cheese sandwich? Like, give me something. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like, hell no. When I said to myself, you know what, Danielle? When you figure out where you need to go, you're gonna start something where you reach back and you help people behind you that's coming up, because
Absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
no way that anybody in a full community of so many talented people should feel alone like they do and have to go to somebody else or another culture to get where you need to get.
I agree. And not only that, it's important to mention, to note that we are not a monolithic people. We have our own opinions on things. We're not going to agree on everything. So if if I don't agree with you on something, or I might be critical of you of something, that's okay. That shouldn't be a reason to now smash that person down.
Right, right,
You see
right,
what I'm saying? Say, okay, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I ain't gonna do this. I ain't do that. And that's another problem that we deal with, because there may be, we don't agree on everything.
right.
That shouldn't be a reason why we can't conduct business. Because at the end of the day, we have to focus on our primary goals, and that's the survival of all of our people.
But you know what? I think it's because we as we grow, as a people, as artists, as whatever, we just starting to learn how to deal with that there's a such thing as constructive criticism, because
Hmm.
it's a difference between
Absolutely.
somebody being a hater or somebody
Yep.
don't want you to get ahead, or
Absolutely.
somebody's giving you constructive criticism. And a lot of times,
Absolutely.
as especially in our community, if you see somebody trying to lend you a hand, and I'm not saying unsolicited advice, but if you all in the same kind of group or kind of thing,
Hmm.
and you see somebody struggling in a certain area, you say, hey sis, I feel like you should put like a little bit of dab of white on that or whatever, whatever.
But there's a way of doing it.
Right,
This is what
right,
I've learned in social media. You don't do it out so everybody can see it.
right,
You
right,
do it
right.
privately. What you do, if you're going out there doing it in front of everybody saying, well, that sucks, then that you're a
Exactly.
hater. You're a hater. You're trying to take that person down. So what you do is, if you're doing it as a constructive criticism, you go to that person's DM. You say, yo, I like your work, man, but you might want to try doing this and doing that. And that's how you could just discern the haters from the people who really care about what you're trying to do, and who's really supporting you.
That's true, because if somebody, then again, that's a good point. If somebody's trying to embarrass you, then they'll put it out there for everybody to see, like, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like, oh, that's lopsided or whatever. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? That Facebook
Hmm.
lopsided says get your life or whatever. Then that's a different situation shit. But somebody that really cares about you or is just really trying to pay it forward, they're gonna say, hey, they'll come to you in your inbox, hey, I have a tutorial on this, or if you ever need anything, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really good with, painting strawberries or whatever you want to put it. And if you ever need help with painting strawberries, I'm here or whatever. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I know for
Mm-hmm.
me, when I really got good enough where I wasn't so much worried about technique, but I was more so worried about graduating into like composition. Like, how do I get, I was more comfortable. Let's just say that I was more comfortable with my art. Then I started saying to people, I started to post my work and kind of explain in detail what I did and how I did it. Then people started to feel more open. And I think a lot of people are just traumatized in our community. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're just very traumatized. We're very standoffish. So it's kind of hard for us
Uh-huh.
to express ourselves. So how I make people feel comfortable with certain things is I show my vulnerabilities, so then they don't feel like, oh, I'm just trying to point out their vulnerabilities or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I say, hey, I don't really like how this, composition turned out, but I'm loving the background color. This is what I did. I explain all the colors I went through, da 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 da, blah blah blah. People know what I
Mm-hmm.
do. You know what I'm saying? And
Okay.
then I'll put like maybe my resources. Okay, I got this from Amazon.com. Or I went and went to this, thebrushguys.com, and I got all my brushes from thebrushguys.com. So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
afraid to really share my resources. And that's how people got more comfortable with me, because they seen that I was open to sharing resources, and I was about community and love and just bringing us all together. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I mean, let's segue into our next question. You guys, we are almost at the end. I know it's been a long one, but we had so much to dig in. We had so
I
many
know.
things to kind of talk about, you guys. Let me tell you. Um, we probably got two more questions, and then if you guys have questions down in the chat, if you happen to be still watching, go ahead and type them in all caps. Don't forget to share this, like it, love it, tell all your family members about it. Okay, so the next question is what is your social media strategy? Because I know you talked about how you got your stuff around back in the day, but what is your social media? Give us a brief synopsis of what is your social media strategy right now in 2019. How do you get followers? How do you get your name out there? How do you get commissions for work?
My social media strategy is to build up followers on Facebook, Instagram, and move into Patreon.
But
That's it.
okay, so
Because honestly, I mean, all jokes aside, I mean, Facebook, Facebook and Instagram, they're not what they used to be. They're not as organic. And if you notice, the social media landscape is changing. More artists, more businesses are moving to their own platforms.
right,
So my goal is to, for one, in order to build more followers, there has to be consistency. And you also have to build partnerships. You have to build collaboration on social media. You can't be a lone person in social media and expect to succeed. You have to build partnerships. So that's been part of my strategy. Build partnerships. Expand from Facebook and Instagram and go into YouTube, and then take those YouTube followers and move them over to Patreon. Everything now at this point is the goal is to move them to Patreon. There's no way uh, I'm able to build this animation studio through just followers. And the problem with social media is that unfortunately people think it's everything is free. And
oh
we got to get
yeah,
out of this. We got to get out of this free thing. It's so yeah.
hmm
I've focused on consistency, collaborations, partnerships. Don't don't uh don't hesitate helping other people build their pages, and then you connect with other people who have larger platforms and they can support you, and ultimately move to Patreon or move to your own Patreon. An example of that would be Vidler. You move to Vidler, now you have control of everything on that platform, including the money.
You said, what is it now? Vidler?
Vidler.
Vidler. Spell it out for us.
Viddler.
Okay.
It's like Patreon, but you own it.
Wow. I didn't know that. Vidler. Oh my God, you guys. Get on it.
And you see
Viddl.
all the stats. You see all the stats. And how about this? On Vidler, when people join, you give every customer 3 keys. Those 3 keys could be, okay, you could see my content on your laptop, your smartphone, and your tablet. If it goes past those 3 keys, you can see that you're sharing your private secretive password with other people so they can see it free, and you got them.
Wow. Wow. So so Vidler, is that more like what is that thing? Is it Squarespace? It's not Squarespace. It's something. It's where you share your like tutorials. Like, what type of website is that? Like, explain it to us.
Vidler is like YouTube,
Okay.
except you are paying for a certain amount of space. The platform and everything about it is almost like YouTube. And people who want to become members, they have to pay on a monthly basis.
Right.
The difference is you're not sharing that money with the person who owns that platform, because you own it. But what you're paying Vidler a monthly fee. And
But
I think their monthly fee is like $200 a month.
wow, $200 a month.
Yep. And
That
they guarantee you like a terabyte of space in which you could build your platform.
right. But okay, so how are you doing with that particular platform? Are people buying the membership? Are they getting with it? Are they happy with it? What is it?
People were buying the membership, but they weren't coming in fast enough.
Right.
So it didn't justify spending that amount of money every month. So that's why I went ahead and closed that off and said, okay, I can't do this because not enough people was coming in. So from there, I found Patreon, in
Okay.
which with Patreon, in which I saw your link. I'll be joining you tonight. Okay.
Yes. For
And,
those of
and,
you who don't know, I'm on Patreon, you guys. Okay. Now,
I'm on Patreon too. So
yes.
and that's where it's going now. I mean, that's the trend now.
Now
People are
explain to
moving to Patreon.
everybody what Patreon is. What do you provide on Patreon? On your particular
Well,
Patreon?
Patreon is like YouTube, except you're not getting squeezed like like a gangster squeezing a business owner. And you don't have the same restrictions. So with Patreon, you can put your content without all the restrictions. You don't have the same algorithms as YouTube and Facebook.
Right.
So what you do, if you sign up with Patreon, we'll offer you special discounts and special gifts if you become a member, and you pay by the month.
Right.
A small percentage of that goes to Patreon. The rest of it goes to you, and that allows you to build your brand, build your content even further.
Right.
And that's why a lot of YouTubers are going to Patreon. I saw one YouTuber, but he was a white YouTuber. He got like, you ready for this? You ready? He got like 30,000 patrons.
What? But you know
Yeah.
what? That's not unheard of. I know some YouTubers that are making 10 G's, $20,000 a month on Patreon.
Yeah. And see, on YouTube, to make that type of money, YouTube is going to take a third of that money.
Right.
And then not only that, if YouTube decide that they don't like your content, particularly black content that's pro-black and black empowerment, they'll say, well, we're going to flag you, and you can post it, but nobody's going to see it.
Yeah.
Patreon, that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Patreon make their money. They're doing very well. They give tutorials. They give you instruction how you can become even better. And plus, you get to keep most of your money.
Right. So, oh yeah, well, definitely. I mean, after the live is over, you're gonna put your Patreon down below. Is any other social media handles that you have down below? and then people will be able to contact you on there as well and support. You guys definitely should make sure you guys support my Patreon, support his Patreon. My stuff is more. What type of tutorial do you do tutorials on Patreon? Like, what type of tutorials do you do on Patreon?
I don't do tutorials on Patreon. I show my editorial content and I show my latest GG episodes.
Okay.
Okay. So, I'll show, like, for example, the best of Gigi, the Shanice series.
Yeah.
And I will show it's a continuity series. So you have to watch the next episode. That's what I do. I
Okay.
can't I can't show it on Facebook. I can, but it's pointless. I mean, because there's really no effective way of monetizing
Right.
on Facebook. And I can't do it on Instagram unless I go with their live version, and it doesn't really show the resolution of what I'm doing. My stuff has to be high res.
Right.
So Patreon is the best option.
Right. Well, definitely, I mean, for me and mine, I'm still kind of tweaking the different tiers that I'm going to be offering as far as Patreon goes. But of course, you get early access to all of my YouTube videos before anybody else. You get to pick, all of my YouTube tutorials that I'm going to be doing, because you're basically paying a premium. So you're going to be able to pick that, And sorry about that, you guys. The natives are getting restless, okay? So, yeah, so you basically, that's what you're going to be able to do over on my Patreon, is basically pick the YouTube videos, pick some of the content. Of course, you have access to, like, the live videos, have access to these videos, like the podcast information, like all the crap that I do all month long, that is just too much to actually put on all of my social media platforms. So, and then of course, I'm going to offer some gifts, giveaways, and different tiers, like, and then you get a certain percentage off of, you get a commission, like a portrait for your family or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, every artist or whoever happens to be on Patreon is going to offer something different, you guys. But definitely support. It's a good way to support your local artists, or support your favorite artist, period. That is
Absolutely. Not only that, we can all collaborate. We can support each other on our Patreon pages. So
exactly.
I make it a habit. If you support me, I will support you. Done.
Exactly. So definitely, I'm gonna check out your Patreon as well. And then it's easy, you guys, because if you happen, like, say 1 month you don't want to do it, you can always. It's very easy to cancel. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so it's not a big deal. But yeah. So we're gonna get to our last question. Oh, um, okay. So let's talk about. Do you feel pressure to create popular art? Do you feel pressure to change your direction? I mean, you're so many years in the business, like, it's like, who can really change what you want to do at this point? But do you feel pressure from anybody to say, "Oh, I don't want to do that," or you shouldn't
I've,
be
I've
doing that?
I've had people make suggestions that I should change my art. For example, with the Gigi series, some people in the gay community said, "Why don't you have a gay couple in your cartoon strip?" And I said, it's not a gay strip. I
Right,
said it's not a I mean you do you, I do me. And I said I said nothing against what you do, but it, my goal, the objective is to show black love between a man and a woman. Plain and
right. I
simple.
mean, everybody has their own
They have their own
direction.
thing. They have to have their own thing.
Right,
As far as mainstream art, sometimes I do feel the pressure because I don't get the proper support from our own people.
right,
I mean, I can easily draw other cartoon characters that are more mainstream, in which I can make more profit. But then I'm compromising. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I don't want to be left as a I don't want to be known as a compromiser. I
right.
want to be I want to be known as a trailblazer who is willing to draw about what is right and what is wrong in our society.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we need that. You know,
Hmm.
at the end of the day, when history looks into the history books, and you see the sea of all the people in the art industry that's painting all the same shit, that's doing all the same things, the same color schemes. At some point, it all starts to meld together, and nobody really stands out. Nobody's
Mm-hmm.
really doing anything different. Nobody's setting trends. You're not really doing anything. So I think, to me, that's why you stood out to me in a sea of people that are doing those mainstream things, that are, continue, having their own style, but at the same time having similar styles to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So you stood out to me in a sea of people. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
that was something that's beautiful. I think you should keep on this track. I mean, we need to know what's going on, and we need to have this shown in this way, in this manner. And
Well, it is building. We're now living in the ADOS era, and people are becoming more awake and they're becoming more aware. And now that we're dealing with everything in the Trump realm, a lot of us are waking up.
right, 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 exactly. And we need that. Stay woke, people. Okay, stay woke. Let's get it together. Get your life together. You know what I'm saying? you
Mm-hmm.
know, we got to keep our lives together, and we gotta make sure that we know what's going on. And I mean, a lot of people need to see this. And this is, again, pictures are great for everybody to learn from 2 years old to 99. People that can't read, stuff like that. So we need these type of illustrations to keep us woke and keep us alive. Okay, and we're
Mm-hmm.
at the end of today's live, you guys. Yay! That was super dope. Oh my God. I'm so excited. That was a long one, you guys. I know it was long, but I had so much talking to do. I had so much information that I wanted to dig in, and I still have so many questions, which I'm gonna be in his inbox harassing him after the live is over. But you know what I'm saying? I had so many questions that I wanted to ask. Now, where can we reach you, guys? Ron, tell us where we can reach you. Give us all your social media handles, everything.
GG Cartoons on Facebook. Then you have GG's Cartoon Group on Facebook. That's the group page. Then you have Cut underscore and underscore GG on Instagram.
Which I
And
have
then
that
I already,
plugged in. Yeah.
that's right. And then you have my Patreon page, which I already posted. Okay, those are all the social media. I'm on YouTube also, but I'm rebuilding that
Okay.
because I want to focus more on Patreon versus YouTube.
Okay. Okay. All right,
Oh,
you
oh,
guys.
one more,
Go
one
ahead.
more. Robert and Shanice, that's the collaboration I'm doing with my brother Antonio Vance, who is also a phenomenal artist.
I
Robert
think
and
I seen
Shanice
him.
on
Did he
Instagram.
join our group? I seen him in the group, maybe.
Robert and Shanice on Instagram, and check out Antonio Vance. He's a phenomenal artist. And check out the Black Fowls cartoons. That's my brother Alex Alexander.
Yes. And that was phenomenal. That's the end of our live, you guys. I want to thank everybody so much, all the artists that signed up for the Creative Girl of Color podcast slash artist interview series. I appreciate you, Ron, so much for coming on and imparting so much knowledge, keeping us woke, telling us what we need to know in the art industry, and just spreading love, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. I really,
And let me
really
just say, how proud I am of you.
thank you.
You're
Thank
doing
you.
some phenomenal work. Your platforms are incredible, and you are that beacon of light that we need at the end of the day.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here to spread the love, spread the light. Spread the light. I need to spread it. You know what I'm saying? I had to get the word out there because we need it. Okay, we need it. It's our time, you guys. So I love you guys so much. You can check out all the social media tags and social media handles. And say bye, Ron, because we're out of here.
Bye.
All
Y'all
right.
be blessed. Stay focused.
All right. Bye, guys. And I'll catch you on the next
Bye.
one.